Welcome to our Wednesday sessions at Technology Transformation Management, easier said TTM. Pretty excited about today's subject. This is probably our #1 project that we're doing in the enterprise space today, and it's SD-WAN. Brought a vendor with us today, Vergx, Brian Fink, who is a fantastic guy. He was the former CTO of, many of you may know, Earthlink. And welcome, Brian, today.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we're going to talk about SD-WAN. Not all are built equal, and we have done a tremendous amount of projects helping clients, redo their SD-WANs that they've done or look to migrate to SD-WAN. So, Brian, why don't we get going on? Tell us a little bit about Vergx.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Alan. Yeah, a little bit about us. Vergx, we've been around actually for about 20 years, but we started a new business within our corporate structure on 100% focused on SD-WAN. So back in 2015, we put together a practice around SD-WAN and SD security. And what we did is we built out a platform as a service. And so I know, that's a phrase that's used a lot in the cloud space. But what we did is we took technology from a very Gartner leading SD-WAN technology provider, Versa Networks, and we built out their software inside of our co-location and our data centers, and we offer this as a service. And we've done that in a variety of different ways. We've actually initially started as selling to a lot of tier 2 and tier 3 service providers. We've actually brought on a couple tier 1 service providers who do run on our platform. And then a couple of years ago, we started to work with initially Microcorp in the indirect channel space. And we started focusing a lot on working with partners such as Alan and TTM, where all we do is SD-WAN and SD security, and we do it very, very well. And we partner with different solution architects like Alan, who are putting together, a specific solution for customers who are looking for that type of a service, and that's what we've been doing. And we've been growing our business extremely well and profitable and debt-free and really 100% all in on SD-WAN. We do global deployments. I do have operations in India. I got operations in the US. I do have deployments all over the world today. I think we got a slide here next to kind of all the little green and blue icons on the chart here do show you where we actually do have flex presence. Obviously in the US there's a lot more than that, but the slide doesn't look so hot if you do put too many on there. But anyway, we have been deploying globally now for at least, I think, about 3.5 years. We've been in all the different continents across the world. We do provide 24/7 support, global support, again, follow the sun through our operations center. Our services that we work with is fully managed, but we also, one of the key things we've found in working with customers, there might be some things they want to do. So when I talk a little bit about how SD-WAN and things of that nature evolve inside the company who's looking to bring it in-house, they might want to do some things. They might want to do some of their own reporting, some of their own analytics. They might want to start doing a few move ad changes. The way we've designed our solution, we have the role-based access control where they can come into this portal and they can use it if they want to. Again, if they don't want to and they want to have a fully managed service, we can definitely do that service as well. So that's a little bit about us. What we do, again, as I said, this is our expertise, SD-WAN, SD security, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in detail here, and hopefully you'll get some value out of the SD-WAN space. So when I talk about SD-WAN, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do, but there's different solutions in the market, and like Alan mentioned, there are choices. We understand that. There's some things that we think we do extremely well. I will advise people when they are starting to look at SD-WAN to just be careful and don't get too caught up in all the different technology, because everybody tries to say, oh, this feature, that feature, this feature, that feature. There are some differences. So when you're looking at a real SD-WAN solutions, there's probably 6 or 7 technology players that differentiate themselves. And if you kind of go out to Gartner and look at the visionaries or leaders, you'll see someone like Versa is going to be towards the top. There's some other solutions out there that people say are SD-WAN, but if you really look under the hood, they don't solve all the use cases that I'll be talking about today. I mean, so just be careful when you're looking at that. The other thing that I really encourage people to look at and evaluate is make sure that you're working with somebody that is going to give you a really top-notch service delivery and support operations process. Being in telco land for many, many years, one of the things I think we did horribly was customer service and service delivery and provisioning. And so when I built this business, I made 100% sure that my operations guys are 100% customer focused. So if you do engage with us and we have a chance to work together on a network design and an implementation, you'll find that my team has workflow processes, site surveys. They're very diligent on the design and site survey process to ensure that your turnups go exactly how you want them to go, and also make sure they get tested and validated as part of the turnup. A lot of that stuff gets lost in the technology discussions around SD-WAN. So I just kind of want to highlight that as a key thing to think about too before we just start digging into all the different whiz-bang features about SD-WAN.
And Brian, you're dead on point. I mean, I want to bring up some points and some buying things that we've seen that have been a mistake or that we've fixed or learned from. We've seen a lot of companies package their routers now as SD-WAN, and we've seen companies go for the savings of going public internet without some of the technical features of a higher end SD-WAN like Vergx, and literally had to look to negotiate out of their contracts on their behalf, and then move them into a new platform that could accommodate that on a broadband type network or DIA network. And then the other thing that I see to watch out for is how you're going to deploy. Often the carriers are extremely cookie cutter, so their standard deployments are going to include all the great features the products are capable of. So we often, depending on the provider that makes sense or how they go about it, we've often wanted to layer on additional engineering resources or make sure that they were making that part of the opportunity. So those are two caveats I've seen that the customers. We actually won customers because of them, that they've come back. So it's real big market out there to know, and we've spent a lot of time knowing what to do and how to do it right.
Yeah, it's a great point. And when you start looking at service providers, most of them obviously are selling access as well, right? And they may even have an MPLS connection into your existing sites. They might be a little resistant on trying to drag public broadband in there because it could jeopardize some of their access side. Again, we're totally access agnostic. So as part of our solution, we do not offer any access solutions. So we encourage our customers to work with their partners and find the best access out there and the least expensive and the best quality. If it's fiber-based and broadband internet, et cetera, coax. We run over the top, right? And we will give you complete visibility into that access. So we can tell you if those WAN links, how they're performing, if they're up, if they're down, if they're latency, if they have latency, loss, or jitter. We can tell you, we inspect those WAN ports in extreme detail. And we do that to do what we call dynamic application routing. So we're looking at those WAN links in real time to ensure that we select the best path for your applications, right? That's really one of the big SD-WAN use cases there, and being able to do that is inspection of those WAN ports, giving you dual WANs or even 3 WANs if so need be. In case one WAN isn't working well, the second one can pick up. And that's really one of the things that we don't get involved with trying to sell you access with our SD-WAN. We just offer the SD-WAN as a separate standalone solution. Our solution, like many, runs on, will run on an appliance. So, there's a standard appliance that does get deployed out at the branch. You'll notice we've got a title on this slide called Home. We have repositioned our SMB offering so that it is economically efficient for businesses to now put an SD-WAN branch location in somebody's home. We've done that just in response to a lot of remote workers now working out of their house, and businesses looking for a higher level of security control for that employee who has moved home. So we do offer that, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that here in a minute. But really, technically, there's nothing different about it. It's just extending that, that company's network design out. Instead of it being a branch at somebody's home, it still participates as part of the SD-WAN. So one of the key things that you get with SD-WAN is what we call, it's an overlay design, right? So every single location forms a secure tunnel to communicate with other locations. So we automatically create that overlay over any underlay. So you'll see in my box on the right there, internet, MPLS, LTE. We actually can even do layer 2 connections as part of the WAN in terms of like a metro solution. Really anything that's passing packets over that transport, we just view it as the underlay. And one of the things that we do in our solution is have that active transport. So again, we're going to inspect those various WAN ports and see which one's the most efficient for transportation of those packets or those applications. Now, not only are we inspecting, but we also can prioritize, right? And that's a big use case with the SD-WAN. The nice thing about our software that we find in our solution, we actually also do security. So the software that I put out at the branch location or in someone's home or at a data center, that software in a single software image has enterprise routing features in it. It has all the SD-WAN stuff that we're going to talk about and have been talking about. It also does firewalling. Not only does it do the stateful firewall that you would expect from a standard layer 4 stateful, but we also have the next gen firewall features. So we can do application-based layer 7 control at that branch office, and we can do URL filtering and things like that at that location. And that is a differentiator with our solution. A lot of the SD-WAN people out there basically do routing SD-WAN and firewall, layer 4 firewall. We step up and do the next gen and UTM as well. We can do IDS, IPS out at that branch location or at the data center, and we do AV as well. So that is something, again, a little bit unique to us, and that's why we do position the security offering. And when you do business with us, the security is really just a simple add-on. So if you decide, one of the things I always tell people, most people have a security solution already in place. That's fine. We work great with existing security solutions, Sonic Walls, Cisco, Palo Alto, Fortinet. That's fine. But if you're looking over time to evolve to a simpler design at some of your smaller branch offices, we can also do the security there, and it can save you a lot of money and, quite frankly, save a lot of management costs, right? So you don't have to have dual purpose devices out at those branch locations. So we've had a lot of the stuff we sell initially goes in with solutions that we deploy initially go in with SD-WAN, but we've actually found, I just did an audit the other day and looked at our service catalog, and we have about 60% of our sites now have next-gen firewall and UTM turned on. So they didn't get deployed initially that way, but over time, people have found a really good need for that as they evolve. And again, adding that feature is a simple move, add, change. So there's not like I got to go out and put a new appliance out there and repurpose the software image. You can put the security out there by just going into the cloud controller or the provisioning system and just clicking a few buttons and putting your corporate policies in there. And again, if it's us doing it, we do it based on what you tell us to do. Okay. Again, we support any connectivity. I mentioned that. That's really a key thing to us. We really don't, we don't tell you you have to use this access or that access or this or that. So we go with what you got. We do have a full management. It's a portal, and it's a single pane of glass. We do all of our configs through it. We do all of our monitoring through it, and we also have analytics in it. Again, you have access. You customer have access to this if you want it. We can bring you in as an operator tenant. You can go in and look at things if you wish. You can go in and build reports. It's a very rich analytics engine that we built out for your network. We're constantly pulling data back on all of your branch locations, and we're collecting that in a Cassandra big data cluster, like a Hadoop. Cassandra is a different technology, but it's a very large database cluster. So think analytics, and we have a lot of information on your network, what applications are being used, how much bandwidth is being used, how much bandwidth those applications are using, which users are using which applications. There's some unknown applications that seem to be hitting your network. What are those unknown applications? Let's go inspect them and figure out what they are, and maybe you want to prioritize them. So there's lots of great stuff that comes out of the analytics side that we've in all of our services that we deliver include analytics. So it's not anything you have to like pay extra for. We just include that. So our offering includes the hardware, the appliance, the software subscription, all of our cloud controllers, which we partition uniquely for you, the customer. And again, we do all the management. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 support. I have packaged things into these different packages. The software is really the same. Our packages are based on some of the features that would get turned on. And you can kind of see this is a little bit of a simpler slide, but just kind of gives you an overview. We do hit enterprise sites, and that would be a site that's got advanced features. Maybe you're trying to replace an old enterprise router at a headquarters or a data center location. We support, a very sophisticated enterprise advanced features for routing. We do have a pro offering, which is for smaller sites. Think of a professional like a lawyer or somebody, or a sales office professional who's at a small branch office but wants to commingle with their enterprise. It's a great package for that, and the price is obviously lower. And the SMB, like I said, we just brought the home product out. Home is really it's a templated, it's a cleaner template of our SMB made for the remote worker at home. Really technically nothing different though. We do have high availability. So again, at some of your enterprise locations, you may want to run dual appliances. We support that. We also have something called Remote VPN. It's a product we rolled out, but basically any one of your locations where you're running our SD-WAN solution, we can use that as an access concentrator. So now we can deploy for you client VPN software out to PCs, iOS devices, Mac OS, Android, Linux, any client type of device, and we can bring that back over a secure tunnel back to your SD-WAN overlay. So it gives you complete security for a road worker or a road warrior, or someone that's been moved to the work from their home right now and you want to get security. So that's something that we've been positioning quite a bit lately. And then I just mentioned the security, and again, those are nice add-ons. And we do have LTE Wi-Fi too. So it's just kind of a simple way you kind of go through and pick what you want to do. It's templated based. We turn it up, and it kind of goes. This is a detailed look at some of our features. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but the nice thing what we've done too, a lot of things in the SD-WAN space, it's based on what they call this tier throughput. I think you'll find if you do business with us, we've kept our tiers very simple, and we packaged them in these Enterprise, Pro, SMB, and Home bundles. So we're very budget, allowing you to be very budget conscious on the SD-WAN piece. And that's really one of the things that we've really focused on. We have another feature too that we built. We've got a lot of people using it now. It's called App Assure. And really all App Assure is doing is we've built a gateway, several gateways out across the US, across our footprint. And essentially any site that you have, if you want to bring back traffic and put it on a, have us terminate that traffic. So let's say you got voice calls coming from an SMB branch over 2 WANs. You can terminate that at one of our gateways, and we'll ensure that that voice call stays up if your WAN link goes down. So that's a feature that, again, the SD-WAN completely supports it, but you may not, like for a Ring Central call, we might not have the ability to put an SD-WAN router at a Ring Central location, right? So this gives you the ability to take more of a public voice application or public video application like a Zoom or Teams or something like that. If it's running on a public instance, you can bring it back through one of our gateways, and we'll assure that the session stays up even if the WAN link goes down. So it's a session-based thing. We also do some forward error correction on it to improve the quality of the voice and things of that nature. Okay. And we have branded slicks and stuff like that in our offerings, but again, I'm not going to go into detail of all these, but it kind of shows you how we built out our stuff. And these are just use cases. I mean, we have a lot of use cases in the retail, the healthcare, financial, banking, car dealerships. We really have been very successful in several of those markets. And again, we've got good use cases that we can kind of help you if you're thinking about SD-WAN. We can kind of talk through some of the things that we've done there and what makes sense, what package or what feature set you would want at what locations. This is a little bit more on the remote side. Again, it's something we rolled out 3 months ago. We piloted it and we have started deploying this for customers. And it really just kind of gives you 2 separate solutions for remote access. Again, you can put it in your home, and again, if you do it in your home, there's nothing different than it running at a branch office. So it's still an appliance. The same software gets deployed there, and it just automatically connects back to your SD-WAN overlay, just as you see in the picture here. So that house is now just participating in the SD-WAN overlay. Well, what does that mean? So that means now, as a corporate security structure, I can go into that cloud controller I just talked to you about that's unique just for that customer, and I can establish security policies out to that house, just like it's a branch office. So any applications that are coming in from that house over into the corporate network are going to have the security policies applied. We can also do the SD-WAN policies at that house too, to prioritize their business critical traffic, right? So they do get some performance uplift. And we can also, the big thing that we've seen is, we can push some of the gaming traffic or the social traffic that may be coming out of that home from kids that are home and impacting the business side of things. We can deprioritize those packets. So in other words, the at-home worker can get preferential treatment on that broadband link. It could even be a single broadband link. In fact, the ones we've deployed so far have all been single, but you can add a second WAN port there as well too, or use an LTE as a backup. So we have seen some LTE backup used as well.
And I wanted to mention something. We have a new LTE unlimited offering that's under $50. And what's amazing about it, for customers of size, we can actually just keep everything on a private APN network for the client. So almost to literally their own private wireless network riding under AT&T and Verizon. Pretty cost effectively, unlimited. It does block social media, some different applications, but they changed it around to be pretty much every business user capable. So it's been pretty neat.
Yeah, and so if you want to integrate that with SD-WAN, you could just take that MiFi and pop it into the WAN port of the SD-WAN device, and then we can say, these applications can use the use the LTE or not. You can use it passive, active, or whatever you would like. Because even if it's unlimited, there's always some restrictions on it, and you may not want some traffic going over it, but that's a great offering, Alan. I love to hear that. On the other side of the slideshow here, this is where I just show you the remote VPN, and again, that's just client-side VPN. So this has been around for quite a while in the IT space, as we all know, right? Remote access to a client PC or a window or a mobile device. The difference in our solution is we are actually using OpenVPN client software, but we're running the OpenVPN access server back on one of our SD-WAN appliances. So our SD-WAN appliance has actually got a KVM hypervisor running on it. We're very cautious on anything we would run on that KVM hypervisor, but we have put this through our product development process, and we can put a OpenVPN access server on that KVM. So a customer can now have access concentrators running on any one of their SD-WAN locations, which is really cool now, right? And then they can bring back the client traffic directly to where their SD-WAN overlay is sitting, which is most likely they'll pick like their data center location, which is where their business apps are. And then if they want to apply any security policies off of that client PC, they can apply it right there before it would hit a business app. So we're finding this to be very useful in allowing customers to integrate SD-WAN with the remote VPN client side. And obviously, remote VPN is going to be a lot cheaper to drop, software on somebody's PC versus dropping out a branch router. So that's why we rolled the remote VPN out as well. A little bit, I got a few minutes here left. I will say this, this is a little bit, why us? And I mentioned this earlier again. because a lot of the stuff I mentioned with SD-WAN, again, I think if you stay with that, those those Gartner visionaries and leaders, you're going to be fine with the SD-WAN feature set. But the difference that we bring to the table, again, that we find is that we've actually integrated SD-WAN and security into our solution. We are access agnostic. I think you'll find that our monthly subscription pricing models are very, I want to say competitive, but I also want to say targeted, right? Like if you have a small branch office and only have a few workers out there, we offer you a nice templated, we call it the Pro product, right? So you can just drop the Pro subscription at that site, and you don't have to, get hit with an enterprise class license out at that site. So we've been very effective at allowing our customers to mix those subscription models based on their network design. So if they have more of a hub and spoke or these small branch offices, we work very well with them on the solution and the budget as well. Again, I really do want to emphasize our team, this is all we do. And when we step in and start working with customers, we really become an extension of your IT team. We feel that way, we work that way. You get an assigned engineer, you get to know that person. We do have a 24/7 knock and that stuff, follow the sun for support and all that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, anybody that's in there kind of touching your network and assisting you with the design, working with the people like Alan Watkins for the solutioning piece, it is an engineer, a computer engineer. Most of our engineers actually even got master's degrees. They've been doing this stuff for quite a while, and you get the experience of them in the SD-WAN and security space. So we find ourselves pretty easy to do business with, very easy to do business with.
I would agree.
That's really what we're focused on. Some of these things are just kind of where you would see a use case for SD-WAN. And again, customers have different reasons, right? Bandwidth, they added bandwidth. They're moving their apps to the cloud. So if you are dropping stuff into your own public cloud and you're going to Amazon Azure, we think that's usually a situation where a network design needs to have a discussion around that. We have and do run the routers I just mentioned, the SD-WAN routers. We can deploy them in Amazon and Azure and Google. It's integrated into our provisioning engine, so we support that very, very well. We also can run on virtual machines. So I mentioned we do include a white box with our design. We also can run virtually. So if you do have a data center, you want to run it in a VMware environment, we can support that as well. Okay. The rest of the stuff, the big thing I would say too is compliance. So if you are looking for the HIPAA PCI, we've been through that many, many times with various customer sets. So that's 30 minutes. I'm gonna hand it back over to Alan. I really do appreciate getting 25, 30 minutes here just to kind of talk a little bit about SD-WAN. I hope just talking about it, you have a better understanding of it. And I did, use our company as a use case in terms of what we're doing, but I think hopefully that gives you a pretty good overview of, not just what we do, but also how the market and industry is evolving. Thank you very much.
No, I appreciate it. Jeremy had a question. What's the best way for a customer to start onboarding Vergx or to get started with Vergx?
Yeah, so what we find, initially working with us is if you start working with one of our partners and have a conversation, and then what we do, we typically have a half-hour call with the customer, and we usually ask them a lot of questions, right? It's like, what's your network? What's it look like? What are you trying to do? What are your business applications? How do you handle security? So we ask some questions. It's almost like I don't want to say it's just like a half-hour little consulting session, but we just ask some questions and gather some information. And then we typically think about, okay, do you have a use case where we think SD-WAN's of value to your business? And we get back and have a conversation about that. And then after that, it's very simple for us. I mean, we step in and we'll do a network design and a quote and give you a budgetary view of what it would cost. And that's really how you engage with us. And then once a service order is signed, again, my ops team takes over. They have a very robust onboarding process. Our site surveys are the best in the industry. And everybody that sees them says that. And I've shown them to different service providers who come in and are looking to offer a service. But our project management and our service delivery and our template process is really, really, really clean. And we work closely with the customer, get the information we need, and then we move forward and we and we make sure you're very happy with the turn up and then the ongoing support.
Okay. Well, Brian, I really do appreciate your time. I know that in our enterprise discussions with clients and going through the process with you guys, your solution is extremely budget favorable, but yet, I find it important third-party validation, especially when it comes to security. And you guys have really been a top shelf, well above many of the big brand names out there as far as security goes with third-party validation. So
yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point, Alan. I didn't mention, but yeah, we've been through the NSS Labs certification and the ICSA certification. So again, we're not just saying, oh, we just have security features you can turn on. This stuff's been through the certification ringers, extremely well received in the industry. And it's running at many large banks and financial institutions and healthcare institutions around the world. So it's you're getting enterprise class software, no doubt.
All right. Well, Brian, I appreciate it. Everybody on the call, keep in mind a couple of weeks from now on Wednesday at noon, we'll be doing this again. We'll be talking about the cloud again with how to get to AWS and Azure, and I'm looking forward to everybody's time and appreciate everybody attending today.
Thank you very much again. Appreciate it.